Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning.
So, how did the last time go?
Not well.
Well, tell us about it. What happened?
Well, you know, it was, I've given up trying to predict or figure out, because obviously I can't. I felt really good about the interview. It was 3 new people. None of the people that had interviewed us previously were there, and just like the first round, the general counsel wasn't there, and you know, I felt comfortable, and I felt like I answered their questions, and if body languages, body language and smiles or any indication, I felt like I made a good impression. You know, obviously I didn't get either one of the positions, and I can't really tell you why, because I feel like I'm qualified for the position. I feel like I would be a great service to this community, and I'll continue to try.
Well, you know, there are new faces up there, as we all know. Okay, so now having met those new faces, is there something you would do different this time around, really, to set you up?
You know, all I've been trying to do, when you say do different, I mean, every time I prepare. You know, every time I'm trying to make sure I'm aware of what the current law is, what the hot topics are, and I continue to evolve. You know, so when I think about things that I may have said or felt in a prior interview before for the other rounds, sometimes I would bring it up. You know, I'd say, you know, in the last interview we talked about this, and my position was, you know, X, Y, Z, and I've now had time to evolve and think and those kind of things. So that preparation will remain the same. And maybe it's survival, but I've just tried to focus my mind on controlling the things that I can control. You know, which is how well versed I am in current law. They had a lot of questions about, you know, hot topic cases, and I felt like I handled those well. They asked a lot about how I would run a courtroom, you know, which I you know, preface by saying, well, it just kind of depends, and it depends on the division and the issues, and I felt they were satisfied that I had done some homework and given some thought to it and had a game plan, you know, a course of action. Other than that, you know, the unspoken is the politics of it, and so I've just been continually trying, just throughout these last years, not just when an opening comes up, but just throughout, trying to meet as many people, trying to have as many contacts, and it's difficult because part of it is having to sort of toot your own horn and draw attention to what you do, and that was not something that I was used to. I mean, I'm one of those, I just do it, and I don't really, you know, talk about it, and I don't, you know, look for accolades, but I understand now that, you know, I have to be my best advocate, and I have to put it out there and try to get as many people to agree with me that I have the qualities needed to be an excellent, you know, circuit court judge.
I like vetting you. I like talking to you. I like reading about you, reading about, you know, your application and the way you write, and it's just conversational and professional and wonderful. And so I think we're all just kind of like, you know, boy, hasn't it happened for you yet? And I'm sure you're feeling the same way. I don't know what else to ask you or how else to help you advance yourself in this, because you know, I'm delighted with you.
And I get excited every time I go to Tallahassee. I mean, that's like, and I didn't, you know what, this last time, and I said, well, was that smart? Because the interview was at 3. We had just come back from Louisiana. So I said, you know what, you know, we just been on the road. I'm just going to drive up, do the interview, drive back. And I felt fine, but I didn't feel tired. I was like, you know, maybe, you know, if I could have, you know, rested. But what I'm proud of is I've never tried to be anybody else but who I am. And that's easy for me, you know, because I don't have to think about it. It just, you know, is who I am. So I felt like I was very personable, but professional. And I hope that what they saw and that what all of you see is that I am so proud to be a lawyer. I am having more fun, you know, than I ever have, especially in the last couple of years, because I think I'm finally getting a good balance between, okay, you have to practice law to support yourself, but you also have to give back, you have to enjoy the work you do, you have to reach out to your community, and you have to leave a good impression of the profession on the general public. And I'm just, it's always that initial disappointment. I was finishing up Christmas shopping when I got, you know, my call, and I normally don't get good reception in the TJ Maxx, but it was crystal clear, and it was funny because it was Pete that called me, and he said, "Hi Alicia, how you doing?" And I was like, "God dog it, I didn't get it." And he was like, "Well, I haven't said anything yet." I said, "But you're not Governor Scott." he said, "Oh, you know that?" I said, "Yes." You know, and, you know, he laughed and he was like, "No, you know," and he was very apologetic and very kind. And I said, "You know, it's okay." You know, I said, when you have so many positives going in your life, things can get you down, but you get right back up because it's just so many things, you know. And it was Christmas shopping, you know, I mean, something that, you know, I enjoy doing. You know, I have Alfred tell it, I enjoy shopping, period. But, you know, I'm looking for things for family members and friends, and it was just, I felt the timing was good for the call, because maybe if I was sitting somewhere by myself and I get the call, you know, maybe it would have, you know, cut way deeper. But I was able to digest it and accept it. I don't understand it, and you know, I wish there was a way for me to somehow sneak into the governor's mansion and, you know, say, "Hey, Governor, can I talk to you a minute?" I mean, I wish there was a way I could do it, to say, "Hey, you know, what else do you need?" But what I continue to try to do is to be the best warrior and the best person that I can be. And you know, I think it's enough, and I hope that at some point, you know, if you kind folk see fit to send me back up there, you know, I hope at some point he looks and says, "Hey, there's got to be something to this." You know, she keeps coming up here, and I appointed qualified people to my nominating committee, so, you know, let me take a good look at her. I think I'm close. I've been known to be delusional, but I think I'm close.
Have you spent any time perhaps speaking with some of the recent appointees to brainstorm?
Not this round, and every other round I did. And I called for Judge Blackburn, but understandably she was in sort of the midst of, you know, shutting everything down, getting everything started, you know, going to the judicial conference, and so I understood that she couldn't get back to me. So I haven't spoken to her yet. I did put in a call. Judge Jolly actually worked with Alfred previously. And so I'm sure I'll be giving her a call, and, you know, but I haven't done it to date. But I have spoken to all the other judges that were appointed before me. They all say the same thing, though. I mean, it's kind of, they're mystified themselves. I mean, they don't know what was the trigger word or what was, you know, because most of your appointees had been several times. And, you know, and they say, well, when I think about the other interviews and this interview, I don't know what magic word turned it. So I always go back to what Mr. Antonacci said. It's sort of like a pendulum, and you're watching it, and you're hoping it lands your way, and then, you know, something happens. I honestly don't think it's anything that I'm doing wrong. You know, I just think I'm not making the connection, and I just need to work that angle harder. And I've just been trying. I'm a fish out of water with that type of thing, though. You know, I'm just not a hobnobber. I'm not a, you know, that's not my personality. So it's been challenging. But you do what you have to do if you want the job. So, you know, I do it and getting better at it.
I don't think we know exactly what the position will be, or because I don't But let's assume it's in Flagler County. Can we talk about your connections to this area and your relationships with the practice you've built and the relationships you've made in the county?
I literally live 5 minutes from here. I was so thrilled when the list came out and the interviews were here, because that meant I could still do dependency court upstairs and come down in time for the interview. We've lived here now maybe 8 years. I've tried to be very involved with the community. You know, initially my mechanism was the Chamber of Commerce, where we tried to do a lot of redevelopment down in Bunnell. We started the Potato Festival. We went to local businesses and trying to get them to interact more with the community there, and you know, give them some city pride. You know, that Bunnell, because I love Bunnell. Bunnell reminds me of my hometown. I'm a small hometown girl, Opelousas, Louisiana. From there, you know, I've been very involved with the schools. I think my biggest involvement is probably our mock trial competition team. I've done that for the last 6 years. If you guys aren't doing anything Friday from 9 to 4 is the competition. It's the first time that we're hosting it here in the Flagler County Courthouse, and we'll have Clay County here and Volusia County here. So I'm excited because every other year we traveled to St. Johns County, we traveled to Clay County, and we have been trying for years to get it here. And it's just wonderful because having done it that long, you see kids that evolve from middle schoolers to high schoolers to, you know, going off to college, and it's just, you know, it's a very proud moment for me to be involved in their growth. My client base, you know, I'm not an attorney that does billboards or television ads. My practice is really based on client referral. And for me, that's important because that means I did such a good job for one person that they felt it fit to refer me another person that they cared about. And the way I approach my practice is I try to help people through difficult times in a caring and compassionate way, but in a professional way. And so I feel like I've built a very good base here. I mean, most of the people know here, if you need somebody to volunteer for something, you know, call Alicia, and then I'll say yes, and I don't even know what it is, and you know, a month later I look on my calendar and I'm like, what is that? And they're like, yeah, you agreed to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I love the smallness of it. So to practice here would be wonderful. I heard a bug that they're trying to do a unified family court here. I would absolutely love that because I totally agree that, you know, there needs to be resources invested in protecting families and protecting children and trying to give them the resources that they need to be successful in life. You know, there's so many different areas of the law and there's so many different things to think about. But for me, it just comes down to people. You know, I would feel fulfilled if I could take what I do at my level now and broaden that to a wider base, you know, and so I would just be thrilled if it was here, but I'd go anywhere because people talk, so they're like, oh no, it might be Daytona, oh, you know, I don't really care. I mean, I'll serve wherever they will allow me to serve.
Alicia, tell us a little bit about how you've expanded your practice areas.
From the last time, I think I'm pretty much, the last time we interviewed, I had just added personal injury, and I accepted a full-time contract with the guardian ad litem's office. And because I'm always, I like just knowing things. Don't ask me why. I should probably like go on Jeopardy or something. I just like knowing things for the sake of knowing it and just being familiar with it, so I don't have to feel intimidated by it anymore. So the personal injury, I'm still getting training with, because I don't like just because I'm curious, I don't like to have a client suffer for it. So when I'm going into new areas, I'll typically like intern with another attorney who, you know, I feel is competent so that they can sort of teach me the ropes. So I'm still in that phase with the personal injury. The guardian ad litem, that has got to be one of the most personally fulfilling things that I've ever done in my life. Because years ago, I was on the list to be an attorney for dependent parents. And that was difficult for me because my mind said, well, if they take your children and they say you have to do 1, 2, 3, then what's the problem? Do 1, 2, 3. And I just couldn't wrap my mind around the obstacles that these folks faced. And it was sometimes difficult for me to advocate. I did it, but in here it didn't necessarily always feel like the right thing to do. The Guardian Ad Litem program is just about the children. And for me, it's the only time in my legal career where I've felt like I'm always advocating for the right thing because I'm always advocating for what the children need. And I'm not trying to balance, everybody else. And it's been, last time I talked to you, this was in Tallahassee, I was telling them about the changes that was going to come to the private adoption bill because the Guardian Ad Litem had started objecting to private adoptions. And I did a memorandum, and that was included in the packet. And just this past Friday, that child that I prevailed in that motion on was adopted. And I was just, to feel like you had a part in that, I mean, it's just so rewarding. So I think that for me, I'm trying to keep a balance. I have to make money because I like things, but I also have an obligation to give back. And to be, to make the profession proud and to keep the oath that we all take as attorneys, and that's what I try to do. So I don't know that, I just am trying to broaden my horizons and use my degree and my knowledge to help as many people as I can.
Alicia, I know you spent some time working at Community Legal Services.
Yes, sir.
And I know you had to deal with a lot of people who were trying to struggle through the system on their own and indigent folks. What about that experience would you bring to the bench?
Just an understanding. It's easy to have an opinion about somebody if you've never walked in their shoes. And working with indigent persons, it gives you a better appreciation of the challenges that they face and why they're not necessarily at the same place where you are. But it's interesting because it's sort of a fine line, because it's a balance between understanding what the deficiencies are, but also requiring that they push past their deficiencies, because maybe we can't repair what got you to this point, and maybe it wasn't right what got you to this point. But we have to move beyond that, and we can't remain stagnant in that position. But I think that what they would appreciate about me and having a judge like me preside is I wouldn't look at them as if they were worthless. I would genuinely care about their concerns, and I would want them to feel like the system as a whole, not just me in particular, but that the whole system gave them a fair shot. And that's important, because people, in my opinion, don't respect the law if they don't feel like it's fair. And it's their court system too. Even though they're indigent, it's their court system as well. And so it has to work for them just as well as it works for anybody else.
Alicia, thank you. You know our process. We'll let you know by the end of the day.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for coming here. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.